Julian Knight.
Heartily welcome a DCMS debate in this place. 3 hours, no less. And as my friend, the SNP spokesman, said, he commented that there was one current and two former Select Committee chairs drawn by this debate. He called us the three doctors. I hope I wasn't Sylvester McCoy in that scenario. But despite my... Sylvester McCoy, of course.
The intervention, which I was denied by the SNP, who made a good joke about doctors, but I merely wish to point out that there is not just the current, but there are three former chairs of the DCMS Select Committee in the chamber.
Thank you. And I thank you for the extra time as well at that point. But, however, despite my obvious pleasure at the fact that we are here debating a DCMS matter which, thanks to business managers prior to prorogation, we weren't able to do, for example, in online safety. It is good that we're having this debate. I will not be supporting the opposition's rather overlong motion today. However, I do have mixed emotions regarding the decision to privatise Channel 4. Intrinsically, as a free market conservative, I recognise that it is a historic anomaly that Channel 4 should still, after 40 years, be in public ownership. And I start from a simple position, and that is that all things should be in the private sector unless there is an overwhelming case that it should be in public ownership. Public ownership is so often the dead hand on innovation. It implies a state of stasis and has a wider sclerotic implication for the economy. However, sclerotic and lacking innovation are two things that I could never accuse Channel 4 for during its 40 years. For much of its first 40 years, it has, as a broadcaster, has navigated its hybrid status very ably between commercial and public. Other members will no doubt list the broadcaster's strengths, and they are myriad and can't melt away like an ice sculpture. I agree that privatisation will allow Channel 4 to greater be able to capitalise, and will also mean that it can try and attempt to keep up with the rampant inflation going on in the production sphere right now, which is both an aspect of the wider inflation in the economy, but also due to the success of UK film and TV production. In fact, I think in 2018 and 2019, the UK economy would actually have been in technical recession had it not been for those industries, such as their importance. However, the idea this will mean that it will compete head-on, if you like, with Prime or Netflix is an odd one. Channel 4 is much better using its status, either privatised or not privatised, to better collaborate with other PSBs. PSBs need to find a way to offer a combined front to the public, a super BritBox, if you like. Imagine the entire rich back catalogue of British television streamed in one place and given due prominence through legislation. Does privatisation make such a thing more likely? With the right buyer, probably. And I would add that it's unlikely that any buyer would look to, how can I put it, Richard Desmondize Channel 4 in the same way as we had with Channel 5. And I'm not certain I take the honourable member, the Manchester Central's view that they will wait out 10 years in order to drive down the effectively downplay and downdrive, because the whole point of Channel 4 is that it has these unique USPs. It appeals to a young audience, and that is extremely attractive, particularly in a streaming and online age, for advertisers and for marketeers, and also for data sharing as well, and there are wider implications of that as we go forwards. Does the sale make sense from an exchequer viewpoint? It's really marginal. It will raise enough to service, not pay off, the national debt for a total of 72 hours. Such is the lack of value derived that the Treasury has said that it's happy for DCMS to pledge the money from the levelling towards the levelling up agenda. And I suspect that we'll see what happens in the wash in that respect. I always await to be pleasantly surprised by the Treasury following through on such a commitment. But let's be frank about this. This is not about raising money, and also it's probably not also about the fact that we think this will actually be a drain on public resources. It never has been in the past. However, it will be better placed in the private sector to ensure that it can grow and develop. Then we have the elephant in the room, or should I say the Jon Snow at Glasgow, if you like. Is this in some way a revenge play? I hope not, because such things are deeply unbecoming. We must always as individuals or collectively, rise above such emotions. Personally, I believe some of Channel 4's coverage around Brexit was shrill in the extreme, and I don't think they did themselves any particular favours. But we, as a political class, have to be bigger than that in all respects. And actually, I do think that in many respects, when it comes to Channel 4, when I've gone on their programmes, I've always been treated absolutely, perfectly fine, with respect, and also with very thoughtful questions. And I would also add with Channel 4 News, when we do it down, is the fact they do offer, in many instances, unrivalled international coverage, which we would be really lacking if we did not see it. So, in summary, Madam Deputy Speaker, is Channel 4 privatisation the right course of action? Probably, but only marginally yes. Is it being done for the right reasons? I sincerely hope so. But I would be more convinced that it was for the right reasons if this was part of a genuine suite of measures to deregulate our economy, to embrace the private sector, rather than one-off. Because frankly, as a Conservative Party, we need to ensure that we not only just have these, if you like, pieces of red meat that are tossed to us, that actually genuinely that we have a coherent plan and we have a coherent offering for the public so they understand exactly what we are and what we are trying to achieve. And that would be done if the word privatisation was used much more often in our, not just our manifestos, but actually in our public utterances.